Welcome to Cat the Minion YouTube channel. My name is Teresa, but you can call me Cat. Um, this is gonna be uh, kind of like how I did a riff on, what was it? Astral travel? Out of body? Whatever that one was. I'm gonna be talking about the Akashic records. And this isn't like, I've studied everything that everyone has ever said, and this is the consensus. This is me talking about it from my personal experience of what it is. So other people's definition might be similar but a little different, or like more different. I mean, generally, it's a repository of information about stuff in the universe. Um, and I feel like Oh, I should also point out that sometimes when I'm recording with this webcam, it will sort of freeze up and the video will like slow down for a minute or so. And it'll distort my voice and it'll be like and it's I don't know why it does that. It didn't do it to me last time, so hopefully not right now. So the Akashic record is it's like it's like the record of everything ever in every life, like all the information of the universe, like every single little thing ever, everywhere, for everyone, and so on. It's kind of like if you were to imagine that the universe is consciousness, um, and everything that's in the universe is sort of broken up pieces of that consciousness, right? Like galaxy over here, another galaxy over here, two different multiverses, and you, and somebody else, and four other people. All of this information is connected to the same brain, the same universal consciousness. Um, you ever see those pictures of like an embodiment of the universe with its hand coming up and the little fingers, and it's like the universe talking to itself, but they're all like individuals. So the Akashic record is kind of like the data storage banks inside the brain that is like the consciousness of the universe. It's like a If you have a feedback loop, the Akashic record is what is being fed back to you, basically. It's, it's a history, but it's sort of like a living archive. It's a little bit hard to describe it because like all points in time are now, all places in time are now, they're like in the same place, but they're not. It's this sort of, it's holographic, but it's sort of like the Akashic record is the code behind it, the program. Um, the way that we experience it, people call it the Hall of Records, and it's usually just, I mean, as from what I understand, it's often described or pictured as some kind of hallway or um like a complex or some kind of temple, and there's rooms with stuff in it, or you bring up a scroll or a like a hologram itself and like look at your life on like a video or read it or whatever. Now I had I don't know if it was a waking vision or like a regular dream. I don't remember at this point because the memory of it is just vivid and the other information about it just kind of falls away and I'm just left with the vision. So in this vision, dream, whatever it was that I had of the Akashic records, It was it was sort of like a marble or stone or whatever. Uh, and I think it was kind of rounded. It was like kind of like a foyer or a lobby, and there's sort of you could see where stuff may have gone off to the sides. It wasn't super round that I recall, maybe, but there was sort of a room set back from the main part, or like a short, wide hallway that went to these. I don't know if it was a triple window or what, but it was like windows, but there was no glass, and there was like curtains, and beyond it was the ocean, like right up to the level of the floor. And then in the middle part, it was just sort of this, like open oval of space and maybe pillars on the side, just sort of like marbly kind of white, gold, pinky blue kind of tones. I mean, although there's marble in Florence that's green, but don't worry about that right now. It's just there's not like a real visceral sense of the color of the room. It's sort of like, like a iridescent, pearlescent kind of thing, which happens a lot in the astral plane. But a room, temple-y looking, you know, what you might imagine the Library of Congress to look like. Um, the, or like when you go into like a mansion and you have the main entranceway and you think there's like a marble staircase or something. But instead of the staircase, there's this sort of like dais, like a raised platform. It's like a couple steps up and it's sort of curved. Um, and in the middle of this room, like there's nothing else there, but there's this wooden, sort of wood looking, mostly gold card catalog, right? A golden card catalog. And I see the drawer open, and it's like I'm going to go in there and look and see where my stuff is located in the card catalog. Um, and I don't think I've ever drawn a picture of that. I kind of wish I had when it was more fresh in my mind, because this was, I lose track of time because everything's kind of static for me in the material world, except for when I see my friends' kids and they're like fucking grown. But, um, so I don't remember how long ago this vision was, like 5 years maybe? Who knows? Um, the thing is, um, I was watching some tarot reader that I lost track of. I don't know. I like unsubscribed from his channel, and then I was like, I wonder what happened to so and so, and then I couldn't find him again. But he was using the Work Your Light deck, and this was before I was doing tarot, so like at least probably about 4 years ago now. Um, the I noticed this card in his video. My webcam is kind of crappy, so you could look it up though. It's the Work Your Light Oracle. It's the Akasha card. It's not going to show up very well on here. Um, Google image, look it up. It's Akasha, the card, the Work Your Light Oracle. And the reason I got this deck, like 99% the reason I got this deck is because this card looks really similar to how I saw the Akashic record. Right, there's steps, there's water nearby, there's sort of a hallway leading out to the outside. It's atrium looking, there's marbly. It had, most of the same elements arranged a little bit differently, but more or less the same. It's sort of, I mean, this could be raked sand here, it's just colored blue. But the general oeuvre, the overall feel of it is like the same as what I saw. So I think some people sort of talk about like, oh, my Akashic record this, my Akashic record that. I'm tapping into my Akashic record. But I mean, you could tap into information about anything, anywhere, anybody. It doesn't have to be you. It's just a matter of um, what information you're looking for. So, for example, when I clear my decks, I one of my like spoken intentions about clearing the deck is to remove all. So remove all. I can't really remember what it is unless I'm doing it, but I don't want to say what my recitation is exactly because then it'll, you know, distort the energy. But it's sort of like I'm removing all information from the decks. I'm clearing them. I'm taking away all the information and energy that's in the cards from before, and I'm opening them up as an empty vessel for information from the Akashic record about what I want the information to be about. So I need information from the Akashic record about your work situation. I need information from the Akashic record about what's going on in Europe. I need information from the Akashic record about my inner child. I need information from the Akashic record about um, Capricorn for the month of April. I need information from the Akashic record for the Twin Flame Collective. And that way I'm sort of focused on what information I'm pulling down from the Akashic record. I don't I don't ever actually say like, oh, like, come on, spirit, give me information, because in my perspective, I'm the one that's getting the information. I'm like directly jacked into this, and there's this sort of background idea that when I go to divine information, I'm basically just being a heckin' dork and going up to this card catalog in the middle of this like marble oval and like digging through it until I find, you know, Bob's love records and find out what their shadow is doing. So it's, I think it sort of puts me, I mean, I could say it sort of puts me in a power position, but that's not like what I mean. It sort of sounds egoic, but it's like um I'm not at the receiving end of secondhand information for what spirit might want to tell me. I'm sort of saying, "Hey, go bring me this file." And the energy just comes. If my ancestors or guides or whatever other spirits are hanging around that are on my team want to, you know, collate the information for me, thanks. Or it's sort of like, you know, if you want your guides to help you, you have to tell them what you want, and or ask them for help. And I feel like if you just say, "Oh, spirit, can you like spirit tell me about this?" They can, it might not always be the spirit that you want, and they could tell you anything, and it could be BS or it could be toxic or what have you. If I say I'm making a direct connection to the Akashic record, then I can say, you know, database, print out this file, and it sort of hardwires the information into the channel. And I'm not saying that people who just sort of like randomly ask spirit to like give them stuff aren't doing that, but if you are trying to tap into the Akashic records on purpose, it can be very useful for divination if you imagine it in that way. Like you're basically, you know, in this big library, and you're like, hey, you, librarians and assistant librarians, come and get this stuff. Like, hey, you intern over there putting stuff back from the cart, like, I'm looking for this book. I'm looking for this microfiche. I'm looking for this periodical from 1972. Like, have you seen it? Which hallway is it in? Like, what, like, do I need to go down to level 5 in the basement and, you know, go left. It's like, what is the Dewey Decimal System for the Akashic Record? And that's not like, I didn't really have any plan as to what I was gonna say in this video. I'm just like, I gotta talk about the Akashic Record. I've been thinking about it for, I don't know, again with time, I'm like, duh, probably a week, and then I had at least one or two synchronicities involving the idea of the Akashic Records or this card in particular. Um, so in terms of trying to connect to the Akashic Record, I kind of, I don't know how to like introduce it to people if they're trying to do it for the first time, because it's like I've, my entire being has always been sort of background torrenting information from the Akashic Record. Whether I'm able to make any use of it, is another matter. It's sort of like, it's one of those like, you once you see them, they can see you kind of thing, but like the other way around. It's like, once you're aware of the record, then you can actually do something with it. It's like carrying around a satchel for 20 years, and then one day you're like, hey, let me see if I can open this and see what's in it. Um, it's like discovering um, your mutant power by accident after thinking that be like, man, other people have superpowers. Like, I live in superpower land. Like, what, like, I guess there's, something wrong with me. I think that's kind of there's, as from what I understand, that's kind of what's going on in Encanto. The girl is like, all her family has superpowers, and she's like, what about me? Like, what the hell, man? So I got the the crappy DNA there, but I guess she saves the day, so she must have found out her superpower. I haven't seen that movie, but I understand the premise. So it's like being aware of this constant idea that the universe is just full of information, that everything that happens ever in anybody's life, whether it's negative or positive or whatever, is just sending data back to the consciousness of the universe. And the Akashic Record is that data. Um, I mean, there's past, future, present, over here, over there, three brains away, BRANE, brain worlds. Um, mirror universe, invert, whoever's controlling this one, your Sims, whatever. It's gonna be there. So it's like, and it reminds me of this thing, and I'm not gonna quote it right, but it's one of those like, never try to learn something as if you don't understand it or you don't know it. Learn stuff as if you already know it and you're just remembering. Sort of like people who are like, I don't get math, it's so hard. Like, I don't understand it. Oh, that's physics, like, that's too much for me. And I'm just like, well, if you insist that you don't know it, that you can't know it, that it's somehow overly difficult for no reason, when you could simply say, like, I know that I have the, like, it's like, oh, I know this, I just don't remember. Let me see if I can, you know, get the old gears turning. Although, I mean, it's sort of hypocritical, because at this point there's stuff in physics that I'm like, oh, that's a little too much for me. I don't know. But it's just because I don't have the time to sit down and learn calculus over again so that I can understand the equations. If I can read the stuff next to the equations and get the general idea, then I'm like, okay, like, I have to go do something else. But if you're just learning division or basic algebra, and your brain just like shuts down, it's because you think that it's like, oh, this is unknowable for me, I'm all thumbs with this, like I'm not gonna bother. It's like you can learn it, just assume that it's knowable, like the information is already in the universe, you just have to sort of download it. And that can be the same for cooking or gardening, or um, or something that's more difficult to learn, like it's hard to learn. I mean, medicine, science, leather working, book binding, those, like any kind of involved task that has a lot of concentration. It's like you might be frustrated to be a noob, but the information isn't unknowable. It's not like, oh my God, it's going to take me 10 years to figure this out. It's a matter of, you know, bringing down this sort of fear of like this information is strange to me, and just sort of being like, well, I'm a fragment of the universe. All of the information in the universe is holographically coded into me. All I have to do is bring it up. It's sort of this thing of downloading, right? We can download from the universe the same way, like, oh, I'm going to download an ebook and then I can read it. I'm going to download this song and then I can read it. I'm going to download this 5-part course on, you know, how to knit and tat and crochet so that I can understand it, right? What else do people download? Video games, right? I'm going to download the information. And in the sort of occult UFO community too, people talk about having an experience, right? Like close encounters, right? Aliens, interdimensional beings, whatever, and they'll be like, I was awake all night writing down all this stuff and I don't remember. So like I had a download and now I understand um, propulsion systems. Now I understand um, Morse codes and small engines. It's like now I understand horticulture. It's like, and you've seen it in movies too, where they have people sitting in front of a screen and all this information is just like pouring through, and then they know how to do stuff. They did it in the Fifth Element. They had um, Lilu sitting in front of the screen learning all this history. And in um, Demolition Man, they had Sylvester Stallone's character was cop blamed for murder, for the death of dozens of people that were already dead, but the bad guy Wesley Snipes made it look like he killed them. So they put him on ice for 25 years, and they had this rehabilitation program where you know, they send all this information into the head, so when he gets up, he's supposed to be rehabilitated, but so he's trying to like catch the bad guy after they thaw him out, and he's sitting there like, sewing and knitting and stuff, and he's like, I'm a seamstress, like what the hell, man? Stuff that he didn't know how to do when they put him on ice, but he had they had been sending all of that information, uploaded it into his head. So that's the kind of stuff that's going on with information, the Akashic records. So I mean, in terms of like getting into them, it's sort of like you have to figure out spiritually what it means to you to get a library card. Um, and that might look different for different people. I mean, if you're getting downloads, you're probably connected to the Akashic record, because where would that be coming from? And if it helps to think of your guides as librarians, that might work too. Um, Again, it's like I feel like I'm supposed to tell people how to connect to it, but these videos, these energy reports where I just riff on stuff, that I'm doing now. Um, it's not really to tell people like a step by step how to do it. It's to just sort of explain what it is. So maybe just the idea of what it is and what it does is enough. And if people have questions, then maybe I can do another segment at some point and answer the questions. Because it's sort of like I don't really know what information people need until I get the feedback loop, until I get another download, or till somebody posts a spiritual comment, that kind of thing. So, um, that's what I have. Because this is a webcam vid, I'm not gonna have like the intro and the little advertisements and then the stuff at the end. So if you want to, I'm gonna hold this thing up, the old timey sign. If you found this helpful or useful or interesting in some way, please consider donating, energy exchange, tip jar, that kind of stuff. PayPal, Cash App, or Venmo, all Cat the Minion. I've got stuff for sale. You get a coupon code on Etsy, 3 or more items, 17% off. If you go through the link tree, that code should pop in. It's 3*17 caps, all mushed together as one word. Got coloring books, dark poetry, merchant prints and stuff. Some of that stuff is set. If people buy it, I'm going to donate portions to charity, 10% or more if I can afford it at some point. And then if you want to see those card of the day posts, I had a playlist here on YouTube, but I'm doing it in picture format now. So I've got Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can see the card of the day stuff. Is that it? Possibly, maybe. If you want to purchase a tarot reading, and can email me there. And you can see the list here. In the description box down below, there's a PDF you can download on my WordPress, or you can email me and I can send you the list with the pictures and the PDF. And I have a playlist here with samples, and everything is through my link tree, linktr.ee/cattheminion. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, check out my playlists tab, and stay groovy, and we'll see you later. Bye. Twinkle